any young dancers, please, if you believe in yourself, if you have a dream inside, follow that dream. If you're willing to work for it, nothing's impossible.
It's nice to have the king, or more the lord of the dance, today with me. Michael Flatley, thank you very much for having me today. And let's talk a little bit about your roots to the dance, and also, of course, of the new show you have. So, Michael, your parents are from Ireland, right?
Yes.
So I start, if I read your biography, I read that you start playing the flute on your father's request. Was it because it's traditional Irish, or how did you enjoy that? So.
Sasha, thanks so much for coming to do the interview. I'm very familiar with your work and I really appreciate it. My father wanted me to play music because as a young man he grew up in County Sligo, which was the home of Irish music. And so while he didn't play much himself, he loved Irish music. And it just so happened that I was naturally quite good at it. And so the more I practiced, the better you get. The better you get, the more you like it, the more you want to practice, and kind of went like that. And on the other side, my mother, being from County Carlow, was from a family of great Irish dancers. And so she wanted me to pursue that. And so as life would happen, she dragged me by my ears to the first dance class, and I hated every minute. But then by the second time, I started to notice actually it's kind of fun, and there's a lot of nice kids in the class, and boys and girls. And then fate lent a hand. I got a little bit better at it. When you get better at it, you enjoy it more. Then I went into competitions. I started winning a few medals. All of a sudden now I thought, wait, I could enjoy this, and then it took off.
So is that my thought was, is that the thing why American-born boy coming to Irish dancing because of the roots of the family?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I think that I think a lot of nationalities are like this. When you're away from your own home country, you yearn to be part of it. You know, I grew up in Chicago, but I always wanted to come back to Ireland. And as soon as I made the first bit of money in my life, I immediately came home to Ireland because that's where my heart is. And I think it's the same for most nationalities. And I think it's a beautiful thing that people have some individuality in life. You know, I love coming to Germany to experience all the things from Oktoberfest to the bratwurst. Well, I mean, it goes, there's a million examples. But it's special and it's German and I love it. It's like Irish, we've got the Guinness and the dancing, the music, you know, all these things. And I think it's important we keep some individuality.
So when I read your biography, there's a lot of things in it. So you have a World Guinness Book entry, you have a world record, you received an award from the US former President Ronald Reagan. You also created Riverdance, which 300 million people see at the Eurovision Song Contest. What does that make with you and your career, and how does it feel?
Well, feels pretty good.
I hope so.
It feels pretty good. I've been blessed in my life, but let me be honest about it. I didn't achieve anything until I was 35. So I had a hard time making a living. I worked on construction sites, digging ditches, foundations, laying drains. But in my heart, I was dancing among all the stars in the sky. In my heart, I dreamed that I could be a big star, and I would see myself in front of the audience just standing up screaming, and I just dreamed every shovelful over and over that someday that dream would come true, you know. And if, in case I don't say it later, I would like to say to all of your listeners and fans of yours, any young dancers, please, if you believe in yourself, if you have a dream inside, follow that dream. If you're willing to work for it, nothing's impossible.
That's a great statement.
That's true.
So let's start to talk about Lord of the Dance. So in 1996, Lord of the Dance premiered.
Yes.
And broke every world record at that time. Do you think what makes Lord of the Dance still successful until the 25 years now?
Well, Sasha, I think that our show has a unique combination of things. As an example, it's an ancient Irish art form that's brought into the future with super space age technology, rock and roll lighting, rock and roll sound and music, beautiful costumes, very sexy girls, very sexy guys, all of them talented, dancing their hearts out every night. Honestly, I've never told my dancers smile. Never. I refuse to do it. And what happened? They can't help it, because they're doing what they were born to do, what they love to do, being free, dance. Is there a greater way to make you smile than dancing? You know, so Lord of the Dance is, it's a very special show. I have to say there's a reason some of our fans have seen it 250 times, and many people have seen it over 100 times. It makes you feel good. You know, the good guy in the show is down and out, and he has to rise against all the odds, and he has to defeat the bad forces to win his dream girl. Doesn't get any better than that for me.
You've said it, so many people saw the show. Worldwide it was around about 60 million people. Did you ever think when you created the show that it would become one of the most successful dance shows in the world?
I dreamed it, Sasha. I dreamed it. I dreamed. You have no idea what it feels like to face the cold shovel in the morning in the dark at 5 a.m. But I promise you, the thing that kept me going was that dream. I didn't want to compete with the other shows. I wanted to compete with, I don't know, Mick Jagger and Phil Collins, and you know, my dreams were endless of what could be achieved. All I wanted was, dancers were always the guy in the back line that never got paid well. I wanted dance to be the main event, the center. I wanted the dancer to be the star. I wanted all the dancers to make good money and have fun, and you know, and my dream came true. God answered my call.
So as you said, if you believe in your dreams,
yes,
you can achieve it.
Yes.
So Germany is one of the countries I know that there are more than 1,000 performances.
That's right.
What connection do you have to Germany? What do you like about Germany?
Well, that's a great question. I love Germany. I was just talking to my dancers in the other room who are also doing interviews, and we all love it. It's like coming home. We've been here, as I said, almost every year for 25 years, except for the pandemic times. And the thing that I love most about performing here is the audiences, because they appreciate us, they understand us, and over the 25 years they have learned with us. They know now the little idiosyncrasies in the show. They know the hard work it takes, and 30 some dancers in a straight line at the front of the stage, dancing as fast as they can, all tapping as many times as they can at the same time, several times in a second. That doesn't happen by accident. It takes years of hard work, but I believe that the German audiences understand it and appreciate it, and they're reserved, and then at the end they give it all back, standing up, screaming, banging their feet, and you know, that for me as a creator, that's so exciting to experience that reaction to the work, and to see young stars with their eyes wide open, glistening, and feeling that energy, what they were born to do. Oh yeah, no, I love Germany. I mean, I'll forget all the cities, but everything from Berlin, Mannheim, Frankfurt, Oberhausen, Stuttgart, you know, even Erfurt in the other in East Germany. What was East Germany? I mean, Mannheim. Geez, it goes on. There's no city that I don't think we've done. There's no city we haven't loved doing here, and we have some fans. There's one wonderful German woman, Eva Schwartz, and she has been to 100 shows.
Okay.
And she still keeps in contact. She still comes to all the shows. And that's a dream come true for anyone who creates. Isn't it a dream to have loyal fans like that?
Michael, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's nice to hear that the fans are coming. So you said 25 years except the COVID time.
Yeah.
How do you deal in that 1.5 year with the pandemic right now?
It's been very difficult, Sasha. For us as a company, we're trying to carry the whole thing through. Very difficult for promoters, many of whom have gone broke through the whole process. It's been hugely difficult. Many of the venues have had to close, which makes it increasingly more trying for us. But I think the hardest hit in all of this, sadly, was my dancers. They're young, beautiful people in the prime of their life. They are cut and ripped. Those men are so fit. Those young ladies are so fit. And to have 2 years stolen from them in their prime, we can never get it back, Sasha, because you know, a life of a dancer is short. Yeah. So we can't say, don't worry, we'll do that at the end. We tag it on. Yeah. They can't do that. When your number is called and the body won't go anymore, that's the end, no matter what you do. There's a level that we have to be at, that it's demanding. If we want to be the greatest show in the world that we consider ourselves, then we have to have the greatest people on stage in their prime, at their fittest, giving every inch, every night. Well, that's what we're about. And I feel for my dancers, many of whom have had to retire because of this pandemic.
Yeah, that's, I'm totally agree with it, because we also see in Germany for sure that the dancers in their 15, 16 years old, dance schools were closed 10 months.
Yeah. So
it's also for them really hard now to come back and have the same level as before. That's not possible at the moment.
So difficult. And even if you can imagine then the dance teachers,
yes,
out of work for that time. The dance studio owners, out of work for that time. And let's not forget about the people that are buying dance merchandising. Well, people, if they're not going to classes, they're not going to be buying those things. If they're not going to classes, they're not going to buy those CDs that play the music for them to dance to. They're not going to go to the local coffee shop or restaurant that's owned by mom and pop shops. You know, all those things suffer because of this. Don't forget, dance is one of the top 5 Google searches. It's one of the most popular things in the world, and we do it physically with our bodies. So we only have a short window to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Did the new show come because of Corona, because you have time, because Michael Flatley have time now, or was it planned a long time before?
No, that's a great question. No, not at all. The new show, it's not the new show, but it is. So I had a dream for the 25th anniversary to do a show that was an homage to the original. I love the magic of the original show and all the magic numbers and the little nuances. And I've never built a show in a way that it's very self-explanatory with an intricate storyline. Excuse me. My dream was that I paint a picture with dance where the audience doesn't have to think so hard. Let them just enjoy it for the sake of enjoying it. So I'm going back to that now, but I'm moving it forward at the same time. I'm moving it into a new place, a new area. You know, we have new costumes, new lighting, a big new sound system, new big screens at the back, a lot of the modern things that we couldn't have before, some new dance numbers, but we also have a hollow gauze on the front of the stage that creates that 3D space, as I mentioned, and I think that's very exciting.
Is that why you thought, or why you said that's one of the important tour that you do?
Yes, it's hugely important. But for me, would it be unfair to say it's a comeback tour? Because the world has grinded to this halt, and now we're trying to get that locomotive moving again. So it's like pushing an elephant uphill to get the whole thing started again. It takes all of our strength and all of our courage. We have to believe that the venues will be there on the day we arrive, that they'll be open. We have to believe the promoters will survive. We have to believe that the people at home will come and support us and watch it. And all we can do is to carry on in the belief that even though there's fog and nobody can see what's there, I see there's land. In my brain, it's right there on the other side of that fog, and I'm going for it.
That brings me to two last questions. So if there's any person out there, which I cannot imagine, but maybe it is, which not seen Lord of the Dance, how would you describe it?
I don't know that I can. It's unique, certainly. It's an ancient Irish art form, an ancient dance form from the ancient Celts back to pagan days, really, that has been dragged kicking and screaming into the future. It's a combination, a very intoxicating combination of old versus new, Stone Age and rocket ships. It's hard to explain, but the one thing I can say about the show, it's a very emotional experience. And I think that's why people come back so many times. It's emotional. It moves people on the inside. It makes them feel things maybe that they weren't aware there was inside in them. And in today's world, to have an emotional experience at a show, it's a really, really good thing. You see the honest hard work, because not like singing where you have words that can convey your message. In dance, those dancers on stage can't hide. If they've done the training, it's there. If they haven't, they'll be caught out. And as I've always said to my dancers, if you believe it, your audience will believe it. So this show, while it's harkens back to the original, it's bigger, brighter, faster, more emotional, more rock and roll, and more theatrical. I think there's a little bit of everything in our show.
And last question, as we spoke before, I'm from the Dance Teacher Association in Germany. So the big question I have is, have you ever tried ballroom dancing?
No, Sasha, I'm afraid you would laugh if you saw me try any other kind of dancing. I only have one magic act, and I'm lucky that I have that. But I have a great admiration and respect for ballroom dancers, well, for all dancers, any genre. I love dance, I love the freedom, I love the feeling it gives you, I love what we give to the viewers. Even if you're dancing, at a private party, or you're dancing for 15,000 people, it's important that you give it, your best. I have a saying, and I know you've heard it a million times, being a dancer, a great dancer yourself, but I have a little thing on my desk that says, dance like nobody's watching.
Yeah.
And while I really love that saying, I always say to my dancers, dance like everybody's watching. Dance like the world is watching. No matter if you're on your own in the shower, dance like the world is watching.
Michael, thank you very much for having me.
Sasha,
it was great to see you. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, my friend.